All right, I dug deep for this one. So this is a talk I gave at YAPC 2002. It was like a 50-minute session. I will not subject you to the full thing, obviously. So how many of you have used Dybix class? Probably many people. It's pretty good, right? So before Dybix class, there was this thing called class DBI that Dybix class kind of replaced. But what many people don't know, because they never used it, but they should have, is that right when class DBI was released, I also released an ORM called Alzabo, which is, I believe, Arabic for hyena, or the hyena, and comes from a book by Gene Wolfe, who's one of my favorite authors, rest in peace, Gene Wolfe. So anyway, I gave a talk about this. Do not use this ORM, for God's sakes, but it was kind of, I didn't even know what an ORM was when I wrote this. I was just like, I need this thing, because writing all this SQL is tedious. So yeah, I called it a data modeling tool with a web interface, because you could also use it to write your, create your schema and all that. It even had some cool features, like you could create a schema and then save it to disk, serialize it, then update the schema in code, and then read the serialized schema. It would give you a diff and essentially apply the changes, which, hey, that was clever. Yeah, a relational object mapper. I don't know, I didn't know what this was called. So anyway, it looks kind of like this. Oh, okay. Yeah, no, we'll get to the other part. So it looks pretty straightforward, right? You're going to get in the movie table and insert something and update and delete it. And then this is like a really boring talk because there's just like 3 or 4 pages of just code examples. I hope I've gotten better since then. Don't tell me if I haven't, but just lie, please. So you could do all sorts of stuff, and you could iterate over, you could get a cursor, and you could do joins, and it was pretty decent. And so here's some features. And by the way, so these features are still apparently revolutionary because, okay, so first feature, can do almost any sort of query and join, including outer joins. Well, I've been trying to find an ORM for Go, and the best one I found doesn't even do outer joins. It's like, come on, guys. I mean, this is basic database stuff. And I thought it was bad because it was missing intersection, union, and difference, which ironically, I don't think I've used union a few times. In my career since 2002, I don't think I've ever used intersection or difference. It had lazy loading, all sorts of clever caching, which was a complete waste of time. I wrote this cache that would serialize data to the database and read it back later. And then eventually I got around to timing all the caching. And because it was pluggable, you could cache a file or Berkeley DB or the database itself. I timed all of them. The only one that was worth anything was just caching in memory. All the other much more complicated ones took so long to operate that you were better off just fetching the data again. But hey, it was fun to write. What else did it do? Yeah, it knew about your schema. It would have this whole method auto-generation system where you could generate classes that would use the table objects and give you additional methods. It was kind of crazy. I don't know what I was thinking. I did use it for a few of my projects, but I don't think many other people ever used it. Maybe somebody here used it but doesn't even want to admit it. I don't know. Yeah, I did all sorts of stuff, so you could make potential rows and then make them live by inserting them. It would generate documentation for you. Oh, and by the way, do you guys like the sick logo in the upper left? I can't remember, but I think I made it myself. I just assume I made it myself because it's pretty, rough. Yeah, rad, sick, beast. So yeah, if you want to find out more about it, you could try to go to this domain, which I have not renewed for over 10 years, but who knows what's there? Actually, no, I shouldn't say this, because who knows what's there? And I'm on the Standards and Conduct Committee. Do not go to just some random domain you see on the slide. Stay away. Oh, really? Oh, sweet. I could own it again. I have enough domains. And apparently, okay, so somebody else was using it because this guy wrote an article about it, Reuven Lerner. So that was cool. Are there any questions about the ORM? Apparently that's... Oh, okay, so one last thing. So that was the presentation. But here's the really interesting thing about this presentation that I'm showing you now. I don't know what tool I used to make these slides. Maybe it was OpenOffice. I don't know. All I know is I went and found, I have this projects folder with all my projects, and I have an old junk folder in there, and I have the Alzabo website folder in there, and I looked in htdocs, and there was a presentations folder, and I was like, great, I have the presentation. And apparently the way it was exported is there's like these HTML pages, each of which just has an image and like the slides. So like this is a page, and all the rest of it is an image. And here's the really cool thing that I did. The images were really small when I pulled it up, and I wrote some Perl to go in and hack in this CSS that you see here to make it readable. So hey, Perl, still useful for ancient presentations. Thank you.